quiet to the park where it first started. Cold night, us lying in the dark. I felt my heart was trying to find a place for you to stay, a place where I'd feel safe. Anything we have known, anything we've forgotten, in the rain, in the dark we'll lay, in your arms I'll stay. Anything we have known, anything we've forgotten, in the rain, in the dark we'll lay, in your arms I'll stay.
Well, Kina, thanks so much for being here. My name is Gil Asakawa. I'm a special correspondent for the Nichi Bei News and Nichi Bei Café, and I'm here with singer-songwriter Grannis. And yeah, it's so cool to have you here.
It's so
And
great to be here.
yeah,
Hajime
hi, hajime. But thank you so much for taking the time.
Of course.
I wanted to talk to you about your music, and yeah, I first noticed you back after you got the Super Bowl Super Bowl
Back in the
award.
day, yeah.
Yeah, and I live in Denver, so I don't get to see AAPI or Japanese American performers like in Little Tokyo or in Japantown. We have what we call Tiny Tokyo. It's one block
Aw,
of Japanese American
the
culture.
littlest Tokyo.
The littlest Tokyo, yes. Maybe that's nicer than Tiny Tokyo. But I follow the progress of Asian American and especially Japanese American artists in pop culture, American pop culture, and you've had a really interesting career because you've kind of come to your success uh, kind of in through the side door, by doing YouTube videos,
Yeah.
winning this competition for the Super Bowl, and then all of a sudden you appear like I was watching Crazy Rich Asians,
Yeah.
and I said, "Wait, that's Wait, that's Kinagrannis." And I saw you on screen. I'm like, "Wait, that's Kinagrannis." So, tell me a little bit about your decision. So you were on Interscope Records. So you were on a quote unquote major label. I was a music writer for many years, so I understand how that industry works and
Mhm.
how labels will charge you for every little thing, like if you go on tour. But what led to your decision, even at the start, even when you were in school, to kind of be an independent artist? You forged a very independent path.
Well, I it all kind of happened very naturally. Like when we go back in time, I graduated college in 2007. And back then, everyone still kind of had the mentality that you had to be discovered in order to do what you love. And at the time, it kind of did seem like you were either starving artists busking on the street for all of eternity, or you're like a huge successful musician, and that was kind of it felt like. So throughout school I was gigging all the time and making my albums, but there was kind of this thought that, well, I guess the next step is that I have to be discovered and sign with a major label, because it seemed like the only sustainable path. And then, once I found myself on a major label, it became really clear that it was not for me. And I was so fortunate to have found YouTube before that moment. So grateful for that, because I had started um, not long after graduating college and started uploading videos, not really thinking much would come of it. I was in that contest, and I was a commitment I made. I'm going to put up a video every single day as a reminder and thank you to people who are voting for me. And throughout that contest, I noticed the view count start to go up. I'm like, who are these people and where are they coming from? And luckily, by the time I won, and by the time I was signed, I knew that I had a community of people around the world that wanted me to make the music that I truly felt like making, and they had been so supportive and so loving, and I felt so connected to them. And it really helped me make the decision when I was faced with, okay, do I want to be on a major label and do it their way? Or do I just want to keep doing what we've been doing and finding my own path? It made it so much easier to fall back on that. And with the label too, again, there can be great people in the label system. It can work well. In my case, it was kind of like I came there going, I have an entire album made. I'm ready to record it. And their approach was, well, we kind of think you should be like this. And so we want you to write a whole new album with a bunch of writers that we trust. And I was like, I tried a couple co-writes, and for me, it's like the most uncomfortable, awkward thing. Music has always been so private and sacred to me. So for someone with a bunch of social anxiety to be in a room with a stranger and then have to like craft a hit was not something I enjoyed or was good at all. So it made it super clear, okay, that's not right for me. I see a path where there are people wanting to support and wanting to listen, and then I just kind of kept figuring it out as I went. So I guess that's kind of how it began.
You are going to be what, grand marshal of a parade, right?
Yeah.
How's that? Have you done that before?
Oh, no, I've never been grand marshal. I know a little bit about it because one of my best friends, Marie Digby, was actually the grand marshal at the last Cherry Blossom Festival in San Francisco, and I've heard wonderful things from her. I know there's some sitting and some waving involved, but I feel very honored to kind of have that position, and I'm mostly just so grateful um, to be embraced by the community and have another opportunity to talk about blood cancers and signing up for the bone marrow donor registry and things like that, and to have had them kind of go like, we can help amplify this message, and we'd love to kind of partner with you, and that has just been incredible. I'm really grateful.
Yeah, being a grand marshal, and learning how to wave your hand, like a beauty pageant, contestant. Um, how did they reach out to you? How did you become the grand marshal of this parade?
Yeah. So, okay, first I'm going to insert a random fact before I forget, which is that my mom, after she grew up in on Oahu, and then when she was in middle school, I think she and her mother and sister moved to the Bay Area. And when my mom was, I don't remember what age, I have the date somewhere. Her mother forced her to be in like the cherry blossom pageant. And my mom is not a beauty pageant type person. She's like, doesn't like people to look at her and is super silly and not serious at all. But she was in the like San Francisco cherry blossom pageant years ago. So when I told my mom that I was gonna be part of this, she just bursted out into laughter. She's like, "I can't believe this. I have to tell your aunt. Oh my gosh." Uh, so my grandmother has a very unconventional Japanese name that we called her. We called her Obaba-sama growing up, which is like, oh, mighty grandmother essentially. But she was like, "Oh my gosh, Obaba-sama would have like loved this so much because it was her city and it was a thing they were involved in." And my aunt she did like ballet at one of the festivals too. So really cool for my family to be involved in. But how I got involved in the festival to begin with, um, I guess it was maybe like 6 months ago at this point that my mom's doctors told us, I what we are recommending is that she needs to have a blood stem cell transplant as soon as possible while she is still strong. That is her best chance. And that was kind of this huge wake up call for my family and I. We were like, okay, well, if that's her best chance, then we we need to make sure that she has a chance. And um, they started looking, and at this point, my mom in the entire global registry has no match. And that was like this huge fire lit under us. And I feel so grateful that I have any online presence at all because I have this opportunity to spread the message and get the word out. And, we've talked a little bit about it, but Asians are underrepresented in the registry. And so for people like my mom who need a transplant to save their life, they just sometimes can't find them. And it's so frustrating when if you could just get every Asian person, every Japanese person to just swab their cheek, that my mom and hundreds and eventually thousands more people would be saved because of a simple act like that. And so we've just been thinking about this these past months, like how do we spread this message? How do we let people know how easy it is to potentially save someone's life? And we've been doing all this work online to spread the word. And one of my best friends, Mari, I was catching up with her one day and she said, I've just been thinking so much about you and your mom. And she's also half Japanese. And she's like, I want to help. I want to do more. And I don't know how I can. And then she's like, I was Grand Marshal at the Cherry Blossom Festival some years ago, and they were so wonderful. And I wonder if there's any way that they could help. And she put me on an email with somebody from the board there. And I guess perhaps from multiple angles, I think they had said, we're aware of Kina and someone else had brought her to our attention and we would love to help her get this message out. And so that was kind of the beginning of it, was through Marie and through maybe Kenji and Nichi Bei and some people saying, we know of this person and she needs help and can we help? And everybody was on board. And so it felt like this perfect fit where, the Japanese community could come together. We can celebrate, we can get more of our community to get in the registry, and that will help my mom, it will help other Japanese people, and it just felt like a really perfect fit.
I'm so glad that you have this vehicle to help your mom and to help others. And, you know, I'm sure we all send our best wishes to your mom.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah. And I hope it works out and that more people sign up and that you find a donor. So, yeah. So, Kina, thank you so much for joining us and spending this much time with us. And love your music, love
Thank
your message, love the work that you do in the community. And what you're doing for Asian Americans as a whole and for Japanese Americans. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much. It's been lovely talking to you, and I'm very grateful that you guys are helping and getting this message out too. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Help Kina and her mother, as well as countless others, by registering to be a donor with Be the Match, which is a community of donors, volunteers, healthcare professionals, and researchers who deliver cures by helping patients get the life-saving marrow transplant they need. Register at bethematch.org.